friends, and welcome back to my homestead. Today is another January day, and that means it's another soup day. And today I'm going to be making another wonderful and very easy to make and very quick to make Russian soup, what we called soup с фрикадельками. In translation, I'm going to guess meatball soup or soup with meatballs. Now my kids cannot pronounce фрикадельки correctly, so they call it фрикадельки. Very cute, huh? So anyway, let me show you the ingredients we need, and it's so quick. And actually, I'm gonna time myself from the beginning to the end to see how long it takes. The only problem is I forgot to time myself and I already peeled my vegetables. Okay, so these are the ingredients we need. We're gonna need 1 pound of ground meat, and you can choose which meat you use. I'm gonna be using lean beef today, but you can use chicken, you can use pork, you may use ground turkey, whatever you want. We need ground meat, 1 pound. Then we're gonna need vegetables. I'm gonna need two onions. And one of them is gonna go in the meat, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do with it. But second one is gonna be for my zajarka. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know what zajarka means now, because that means it's the base, vegetable base for my soup. I'm gonna need a small carrots, 2 or 3 small stalks of celery. But again, this is optional. We didn't grow up with this. I just like to use it now. And I have 4 small potatoes, okay? Now, what else we're going to need? We're going to need lots of greens. I'm gonna use some scallions. I'm gonna use some parsley, some dill, because we're Russian and we have to put dill into everything. I'm gonna use 3 little cloves of garlic, salt, pepper to taste, olive oil or any other oil to make my zajarka. And then I'm going to be needing something like some sort of a food processor or something like that, where I'm going to be shredding one of my onions. So let's start by making my zajarka. But before I do that, it is nice to have everything ready. Literally everything ready. This way it will save you time and nothing will burn in the meantime. First I'm gonna start by chopping all of my vegetables, and I'm gonna cut up my honey, can you start my timer so I will know what time we started and how long it takes to make this soup с фрикадельками. So I'm gonna cut up, I'm just asking my daughter to set the timer. So I'm going to cut up these potatoes, and you can cut them in any shape you want. If you cut them in very big chunks, just remember that it may be difficult to eat them because they will not fit on your spoon. So cut them in manageable little chunks, little squares. It's up to you truly. Okay, I'm just gonna cut them in little chunks. So soup с фрикадельками is an interesting soup, or meatball soup. It's because it does not really require any broth. Why? Because this meat that I have here, that I'm going to be making into little meatballs, and while they're cooking, they're actually going to be the ones to produce my broth. This whole soup is so quick, and I remember Mama making it on cold winter nights because she worked full-time, and by the time she came home from work, and she had to take a train to get home, which a train was about 55 minutes, a long ride. By the time she walked home from the train, she would be home around 6:30 p.m. So she needed to cook something quickly for my family. And we had a big family, and this was a very frugal way of feeding the family. Now I'm going to be chopping the celery, and I'm going to chop them in very small pieces, same as the onion, because when they are sauteing with a little bit of oil in zajarka, I want them to marry all of their flavors together. They should not be very individual. So no big chunks in Russian soups. They should be small and little delicate pieces. So again, I'm just chopping onion in small pieces, because one of these onions is going to go for my soup, for my zajarka, and the other one is going to be used, it's going to be used in the meat. Notice how I do not have any egg. So what is going to hold my meat together in a shape of a meatball? Interesting story, huh? Interesting question. I will guys show you that in a minute. All right, next we need to shred these carrots. All right, so So nice little pile of carrot as well. So everything is ready for my zajarka. All right, so now we need to work on this meat. And what we need to do to make this meat nice and juicy is that I need to put some onion in it. So I'm gonna take a whole big onion and I'm going to pulverize it in a food processor into like a little kind of, I don't know, like paste almost. We didn't have one of these growing up, so Mama just cut everything very, very small. But this will work as well. Okay. So I'm going to be putting that into the meat here. Hopefully it will not cry. All right. And now I need to put seasonings in here. And the most common Russian seasonings are what? Black crushed pepper and some salt. If you like, you also may add some dry herbs in here, such as parsley or dill, something like that, whatever you like. But I'm not going to be putting anything in it. Now again, some people don't like touching meat with their hands. They prefer to wear gloves. I really don't care. I'm fine with that. I'm used to this. So I'm going to be making this nice and soft. All right, so that is done. All right, so let me wash my hands. So I'm just gonna saute the onion for a couple of minutes. I don't need to get it brown because this is a very light soup, in color light and in taste light. So I'm just gonna saute it maybe 2-3 minutes until it's translucent, and then I will add other ingredients. Okay, while the zajarka is making, I'm gonna be making my meatballs. And meatballs, I'm just wet my hands so nothing sticks to them. I'm gonna take a little, probably size of a, I don't know, like a tablespoon. I'm gonna be making little meatballs, quick kind of job, and just lay them all on my platter, get them all ready to go for my soup, because I'm not gonna fry them. They're gonna go straight into the soup. Okay, so the onion is nice and translucent, and while I was making the meatballs, onion cooked, and now I'm just adding the celery. And celery is not a common ingredient in growing up in our repertoire, but I'm adding it now. And my shredded carrot. And again, let that all cook for a few minutes. Let that all get marry. Okay, nice and soft all together. And this should take another 3 minutes or so. Okay, so 3 minutes, it's sauteed all together, and now I'm going to be covering everything with hot water. And I just boiled in a tea kettle 3 quarts of water. And because I am adding hot water, it's just literally boiled a minute ago, so I'm dropping these meatballs into hot boiling water now, and this will help them to stay in the shape that they are. Because if I put them in a cold water and boiled, they would all fall apart, right? But because I'm dropping them in the boiling water, they're actually going to retain their shape, and they're not going to make that froth, that meat froth that supposed to skim while you're making the soup. This is going to keep everything nice and clear. Why? Because I'm putting it in the hot boiling water, and it's going to seal it in the inside the meatball. And also because I did not put any egg into it, it's going to keep my soup nice and clear. Gently, because I don't want to break my meatballs, my frikadelki. And now I'm just going to be adding the potato to it. It will come to a boil. It's already smells so good. I need to stir everything nice and gently because I don't want to break the meatballs. And now I'm just going to allow this to cook for the next 10-12 minutes covered on medium heat. Allow the potatoes to cook, and as soon as the potatoes are done, pretty much the soup is done. But look how amazing these meatballs are not falling apart. They're staying in the shape that they should be. This is a good time to add a little bit of bay leaf if you have it. If you don't, hey, you can skip it, but it does add a nice flavor. Okay, so actually about 10 minutes passed. So let's check on my potatoes because the meatballs will cook pretty quickly and you don't want to overcook them anyway. So, but my potatoes that I put in were relatively in small size. And you know, guys, this is how I always check. And guess what? They're soft. So this cooked now for exactly 10 minutes. I need to add salt, some pepper, garlic at the end. Okay, and again, that you add as much as you want to or as little as you want to. If you have some herb of Provence or something like that, this is a good time to add that. All right, I do have to taste everything. And now I'm going to be adding my garlic. And I have 3 little cloves of garlic. All right, now I have a little bit of scallions here. All right, just fresh scallions. And remember how I had my herbs of dill and some parsley? I'm gonna keep some on the side so I can garnish the plate. But I'm gonna turn off the heat. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the heat. And I'm gonna put a cover on so it sits there, marries together, but I do need to taste it. I do always need to taste it for salt, for pepper, because I may need to add something more. But it smells heavenly. Oh my word, it's perfect. It's so good. It's so, so good. I love it. This is a beautiful, beautiful soup that was done in exactly 35 minutes and it rested for about 10. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Look at this beautiful soup. Soup с фрикадельками, meatball soup. And we always finish with a dollop of sour cream because that's the Russian way. A little bit of fresh herbs on the top. And voila. Soup с фрикадельками, meatball soup is finished. It's done and it's absolutely delicious. So friends, I hope you are encouraged to make some hearty soups for your family. Serve them on cold nights such as now in January. Try this recipe. It's super, super easy and very healthy. So I hope you are encouraged and try something new.